The room is quiet, almost unnervingly so. At 95, Clint Eastwood sits beneath a single warm light, his voice lower now, slower, but still unmistakable. For decades, he's been known as the man who says more with silence than words. But tonight, that silence finally breaks. And the name he speaks carefully, deliberately, is Rob Reiner. For years, their relationship has been wrapped in speculation, admiration, tension, and unanswered questions. What really happened behind the scenes? And why wait until now to speak? Clint pauses before continuing, his eyes fixed somewhere far beyond the camera, as if watching memories unfold on an invisible screen. Hollywood remembers him as the ultimate lone wolf, the gunslinger, the director, the icon who carved his own path. Rob Reiner, by contrast, was seen as the storyteller's storyteller. Outspoken, collaborative, deeply political, and unafraid of confrontation. Two giants of cinema, standing on opposite ends of temperament and philosophy. To the public, they were simply peers. But privately, their paths crossed in ways few ever understood. In the early years, Clint watched Rob from a distance. Reiner was younger, bold, coming off the success of films that wore their heart on their sleeve. When their names appeared in the same conversations, the industry framed it as a contrast. Grit versus warmth, restraint versus idealism. Clint admits now that he resisted Rob at first, not out of dislike, but out of suspicion. He talked about things I was taught not to talk about, Clint says softly. Feelings, intentions, meaning. There was one night Clint remembers vividly, a private industry dinner, long forgotten by tabloids but etched permanently into his memory. The room was loud, full of laughter and ego. At some point, Rob leaned across the table and challenged Clint, not aggressively, but sincerely. He asked him why his films hid so much emotion behind toughness. The table went quiet. Clint didn't answer. He left early that night. For years, that moment haunted him, not because he was offended, but because the question lingered unanswered. Time passed. Careers evolved. Awards were won. Controversies sparked. Friendships lost. They ran into each other occasionally at premieres, festivals, funerals of friends who never made it to old age. Each time, there was respect but also distance. Clint says now that he mistook that distance for clarity. I thought keeping my walls up made me strong, he reflects. But walls don't just keep things out. They keep things in. As the years wore on, Clint began watching Rob's work differently. He noticed the risks Reiner took, the way he allowed characters to be vulnerable, flawed, exposed. And then came the moment Clint rarely speaks about, a late-night screening, alone, watching one of Rob's films long after the noise of its release had faded. No critics, no expectations, just the story. Clint admits something shifted. He didn't finish the film right away, he paused it, sat in the dark, and for the first time, he felt regret, not professional, but personal. He wonders now how many conversations he avoided, how many truths he buried beneath professionalism and pride. Rob wasn't trying to change me, Clint says, he was trying to understand me. That realization came too late for confrontation, but not too late for honesty. At night, Clint talks openly about aging, about watching friends disappear, about the strange loneliness of outliving your era. He says clarity doesn't come all at once. It arrives in fragments, a memory here, a line of dialogue there. And Rob Reiner, he admits, was one of the few who saw through the myth of Clint Eastwood before Clint himself did. The truth, as Clint finally tells it, isn't about rivalry or resentment. It's about fear. Fear of being seen too clearly. Fear of saying the wrong thing. Fear that vulnerability might undo the legend. Rob was brave in ways I wasn't, Clint confesses. Not louder, just braver. There's a long silence after that. Clint breathes deeply, the weight of decades settling into the space between words. He doesn't know if Rob ever realized the impact he had. He doesn't know if he'll ever get the chance to say it directly. But maybe that's the point of telling the story now. Not for reconciliation, but for release. As the light dims and Clint's face fades into shadow, one question lingers: how many truths do we carry quietly, waiting for the moment when time finally forces us to speak? And when that moment comes, will anyone be listening?